guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show. We give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is Jon Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you from right here at the Collider Video Studios here in Burbank, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also here is Jon Schnepp.
Man, I'm really glad Brad and Angelina got to do By the Sea, because that was a really good movie about horrible relationship troubles.
Also here is Mark
Too
Ellis.
soon.
My odds of being adopted by them have dwindled dramatically this last 12 hours. And I'm just saying, guys, I'm here. I'm willing to work, whatever you all need.
Today has been a morning of quippy comebacks that Ashley Mova's been teaching us.
Thank you.
Maybe someday on Twitter we can share what some of those quippy comebacks were. But for now, we get to talk about Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence.
All right. Sony Pictures has unveiled the first trailer for their sci-fi drama Passengers. The film stars Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt and takes place on a luxury spaceship bound for a human colony that's 120 years away. When two of the passengers are mysteriously awakened 90 years too early, they strike up a relationship and quickly become the ship's only hope of recovering from a serious malfunction. The film opens in theaters on December 21st. John, what did you think of the first trailer for Passengers?
You know, I'll be honest, considering the movie's just a little over 3 months away and all we've gotten up to this point is a picture, and then you hear some stories, and all unconfirmed, all rumor-based, but you hear stories about trouble with the production and, you know, they're having a hard time putting the picture together. And so when I heard the trailer was going to drop, I honestly thought it was going to be an abysmal mess. And I got to say, I didn't think the trailer was bad. I didn't think it was bad. I think I hated the design of the ship. That looks more like something like the Protoss in StarCraft.
Ooh, that's deep, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It did not look at all like a human-built ship, but whatever. I'm not necessarily looking for the Battlestar Galactica or anything, but it just didn't look like something humanity would design.
It looked like a Christmas ornament as opposed to a ship.
Yes, it did look like Christmas ornament.
I was thinking an intergalactic space drill.
Yes, drilling through the fabric of space and time.
Yeah.
But overall, you know what? It was okay. It was okay. It got me at least a little bit more interested in the film. Maybe it's because my expectations for the trailer were so low. I didn't think it was all that bad, and I actually bought into the chemistry between Lawrence and Pratt, and I had my doubts whether I will in the whole movie or not is another question altogether. But honestly, I didn't think the trailer was all that bad. Schnepp, what do you think?
I liked it okay. I mean, I thought, I had lowered expectations after I heard a lot of trouble, especially with the script being kind of like thrown out. I heard so much about how great this script was, and then to hear that most of it had been cannibalized and not used properly, that to me was the troublesome stuff that I had heard. Seeing the trailer, I agree the ship looks kind of weird, but I like the overall production design. It seems kind of like, hey, they're like sent these people out into space, they're going to have a brand new life, and then this kind of thing happens. So, overall, they do have some kind of chemistry. It seems a little more like forcing action with two people, So, I don't know. The jury's out. The trailer left me like interested. Out of the science fiction films, I'm still, my everything's on arrival for me.
Mark?
Yeah, Dennis and I did a reaction for this. It's going to be up on the channel later. And our takeaway was that we liked it, but I think it was a smart trailer because it shows a lot of different aspects of this film. You're going to get some romantic comedy vibes, some action-adventure vibes, obviously science fiction in there too. And maybe towards the end, we got that tugging on the heartstrings drama with that, oh, there's something I need to tell you, or whatever it was that Chris Pratt said to Jennifer Lawrence, that, hey, not all is quite as it seems on this ship. So it was a nice tease for that trailer. But I didn't love it like I thought I would. It does seem like it's a good selling point for this Christmas because there's something in there for everybody. So if you want to go see a movie as a family, it might be the right one to see. We know what Rogue One is going to be. We know what Assassin's Creed is going to be. Passengers seems like something that they might have a little bit of something in there for everybody. Right.
You know what I think was that kind of pushed it over the line for me to liking the trailer? I know this is going to sound totally weird, but for a little while, Ann and I tried being a one-car couple. Mm-hmm. And because, I live close enough to work, to walk and stuff like that. But anyway, there would be a couple of days because of the nature of her job and how big her job is, she would have the car at work and she would call me and say, hey, we've got a call with China. I'm going to be here till about 9 o'clock at night. And then the realization hits me, I'm stuck here for 4 hours. And I would get all anxious and stressed, like, what do I do here for 4 hours? And then, Chris Pratt wakes up and we got 90 years to go.
Yeah.
Come on, you're a one-car couple.
Sure.
Haven't you ever had that kind of anxiety?
No, because I take Lyft.
Oh, well,
That's not-
well, this was before I understood.
Oh,
This was a
yeah.
few years ago, before like it was a popular thing.
Sure, no, the anxiety. I walk though. I'm one of those weird. I walk the earth type persons. But
You
I get
roam.
I roam
Wherever you may roam.
or softly shuffle.
Yeah,
as
but
I'm
you
like,
live right in Hollywood, so you
Yeah,
got everything
so-
within.
But let
walking
me
distance.
give you gentlemen this situation. Let's say that your lady's calling you, say, hey, I need the car for 5 hours, and then Jennifer Lawrence walks in whatever room you're in. It's going to be a lot more acceptable to just hang out and not do anything for 5 hours or 90 years, whatever the case may be.
That's terrible.
It does
Don't
make-
take that relationship advice, everyone.
It makes the
Alright.
time go by a little bit better, I would assume. Well, hey, listen, guys. I mean, the fact that the Passengers trailer was dropping was the only significant piece of news that really came out, and so we thought we would take today to pay a little bit of love to our mailbag, because you guys have been sending a lot of mailbag questions, and we want to get to a whole bunch of those today. So with that being said, Ashley, what's the first question we got?
Caleb Young writes, hey guys and gals, love the show. So I saw that Central Intelligence with Kevin Hart and Dwayne The Rock Johnson is coming out soon, but with an unrated version, and my question is, why? Does it really get more home video buys just because it's unrated? And why don't they just release an R-rated version? I remember this was kind of a trend a few years ago, and then it stopped. I personally think it's dumb and never made any movie better just because it was unrated. Thanks, and keep on rocking.
Sometimes the unrated thing is a very interesting thing, because you hear about a filmmaker and a studio, and maybe they both want to do two different things, one go really edgy, one not, and then a version of the movie comes out that is the unrated, and that means something. Quite often than not, though, it's just a marketing ploy. Very, very similar to the original. You know what it's like? It's like, it's cool to say it's R-rated, so this Batman, the Killing Joke, it's gonna be rated R. There was nothing R about that movie. Nothing in that movie was rated R, but they wanted to make a big deal out of it, make a big marketing push. Hey guys, it's rated R. And I have a feeling that's what the situation here is with this unrated. Notice it's not rated R. It's unrated. So, I mean, really, I don't put a lot of stock in it. Schnepp, what do you think?
Yeah, it's full frontal male nudity for 25 minutes.
In Batman, the Killing
That's right.
Joke.
Central Intelligence, just dudes running around with their schlongs. It's like, they're like, can't even rate it, man. Can't release it, yo. That's not how it is. Yeah, it's literally like, usually there's like 1 or 2 minutes of extra scenes that like pushed the R rating a little bit, where they were like, we had to trim this out. And sometimes it is excessive. Like you might see an unrated version of one of Paul Verhoeven's movies and be like, damn, that's why that's
yes.
unrated. There's certain things that push the boundaries of what the rating systems can handle. When you have a PG-13 pushed into an R, sometimes it's laughable because it's 2 F-bombs and not 1. So you're like, really? Somebody swore twice and that's why it's rated R and not PG-13? That's weird. That's stupid. So the ratings issues in general need to get flushed down the toilet. That's my opinion. But we're still sticking to this kind of weird old, like, I'm a pilgrim, I'm rated R kind of weird way of looking at films.
You're an R-rated pilgrim?
I am.
I want to see that.
I'm a pilgrim. Oh, toot, 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 So I think all the ratings have to get like redone because they're unfair. That's what I'd say. So the unrated thing is like, I definitely agree with you. It's definitely a marketing ploy, but it works, especially if you're like, I wonder what they're going to show that I didn't see. It piques your curiosity. So they usually add a couple of things, especially the naughty bits. You're like, ooh, some extra naked people, unrated.
It's just going to be Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Mark, what do you think?
See where The Rock has a big Johnson in the Central Intelligence unrated. I want to see the R-rated Pilgrim movie. I want to see like the Mayflower, the unrated cut. What went on that ship after hours? I agree with you guys. Usually it's just a marketing tool, particularly with a movie like Central Intelligence. It did pretty well at the box office. So they're assuming a lot of people who have interest like selling a we couldn't show you. But you're right, Schnepp. Unrated means that nobody bothered to put a rating on it. It doesn't mean that it's all this dirty stuff.
Right.
It's just not rated. What bugs me sometimes is when a movie comes out opening weekend and they're already talking about, oh, yeah, wait till you see the director's cut.
Yes.
Wait till you see all the stuff we couldn't put in there. Well, if it's that good with it. So it does bother me sometimes. It's a marketing ploy. But having said that, if you haven't seen some problem with it, just be a little wise.
And as a side note, I actually thought Central Intelligence was pretty entertaining.
It's funny.
I had fun with it. Yeah, it was a pretty good film. All right, what's next?
Tommy Davini writes, hey Collider crew, I watch every day. My question is regarding the movie commentaries you guys do. I recently listened to the B versus S and Civil War ones and had so much fun with them. Shows posted every day. I love listening to all of them, so I was wondering if you still plan on doing 2 a month or maybe more, and what movies do you plan on commentating on in the near future? Thanks.
The best laid plans of mice and men. Yeah, it sounded so easy when we started up. Just yesterday, me and Christian Harloff had a little something. I'll tell you, we watched the brand new season opener of the new Rebels. You guys will get to see it soon. But we just want to watch the first episode of the new Rebels, right? Things are so crazy around here right now. I had to go to a time today that we could even sit down at the TV and watch this TV show. And like she had to go into this, like it's just that nuts. And so we thought, I remember producing one of these, not only that we're available, but that the space is available and all that kind of crap. And we just realized with how busy things were around here that it was a little bit more difficult to get these done and get enough together at the same time that have that block of time available to do them. So we haven't done as you'll ever see us do 2 a month. There might be the big one that we had to do, and we got that out. By the way, check out our Batman vs. Superman Ultimate Edition and our Captain America Civil War commentaries are up. If you just feel like watching those movies, you want to watch them with us, pop it on and watch along. But do you got some ideas of things we should do?
I do have some nuggets floating around in my head, gentlemen. And again, sometimes we try to tie the commentaries into a up release from the box. But there's enough. No, it doesn't. But The Ring was awesome. So maybe we could do a commentary on The Ring. It's around Halloween. People like to get scared together. Or if you have like the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is coming out in November, maybe we can do one of the Harry Potter movies. So I like tying it into something that's coming out now. Right. And you know, so maybe we'll start there. Then when Rogue One, a Star Wars story comes out, we'll have already done all the Star Wars movies already. So just go back and watch those.
What do you think? You got any off the top of your head that you think we should do?
I like what Mark was saying, but it could be fun to do like a triple feature. No, I'm just kidding. Like, we're already like we can barely get 2 hours. But yeah, you know, that's a cool idea. Like we could do a Western. The Magnificent Seven's coming out. We could do like one of the best Westerns.
Young Guns 2?
Well, me and Mark obviously differ. I was like, how the West was won. Maybe it was like, you know, Once Upon a Time in the West.
How the West was fun, starring the Olsen twins.
Unforgiven
Riley,
with
Can
Clint
you think
Eastwood.
of any classic Westerns? Boom, just off the top of your head? Any Clint Eastwood classics? I'm sorry.
Spaghetti Westerns. Think about it.
I'm giving Mark a hard time.
Fistful of?
Fistful of Tombstone.
You know what might be a fun one to do, because Assassin's Creed comes out, and that's the movie that we're pinning all of our hopes on to get video game films back into the forefront. How about we do the greatest video game adaptation, Mortal Kombat?
I'm in. I'm totally in for that.
That'd be fun.
And then we got to do Suicide Squad will be coming soon, so I'm pretty sure we'll do Suicide. But actually, guys, let us know. Jump into the comments section, whether you're watching us live or you're watching us later on. Jump in the comment section. Let us know, what do you think would be some good movies for us to do commentaries on? Remember, though, make sure they're fairly popular, because what's the point of us putting together a watch-along commentary if most people have never seen that movie or are inclined to watch it or possibly own it? So give us some suggestions, and we will definitely look those over. All right, what's next?
Sam Lane writes, I was wondering what your thoughts would be if another movie set in the LOTR universe were to be announced. I am aware that the rights are all tied up in the Tolkien estate, but as everyone knows, money talks. There are so many great stories to tell. For instance, I think The Fall of Numenor would be great as it introduces us to new characters while also making the destruction of Sauron all the more meaningful. But like we have seen with the Star Wars prequels and The Hobbit, a bad movie can leave a bad taste in people's mouth for the whole franchise. Do you think another movie in Middle-earth is a good idea? Thanks, and keep up the great work.
You know, it depends on when you ask, because there have been times that I've been asked that question. I'd say, actually, you know what? No. It's now that The Hobbit, which was one film too long, I think The Hobbit would have been much better as a two-film package. But after The Hobbit, I was thinking, you know what? That has ended it on a lower note. I enjoyed the Hobbit films, I did, but they were nowhere near the quality of the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. And so, and you know what? But these are the stories that everybody knew. Everybody knows the stories of Lord of the Rings. They know the stories of the Hobbit. And so I thought, you know, you can't. And a lot of people would suggest that new book, not the new book, the Silmarillion, right? They say talk about that. But if you read that book, that's an almost unfilmable book. Like, I don't know how you
like
do
Cliff
that.
Notes or something from the other.
But it's so dense. At the same time, there's so much going on it. I just don't know that you can do that. Nor is that book popular enough with a lot of people. But the one thing that makes me question my own thought on that is, you know what? we've got a little film coming out called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And if we want to talk about, hey, a new chapter that is outside of the traditional books, like the Harry Potter books that we've had, you know, if this one knocks it out of the park and people love it, the studios might want to redouble their efforts at looking at Middle-earth again. They might say, hey, wait a minute, there is an appetite for, like, core content outside of the continuity that people already know, and maybe there's something more there to do. Because look, regardless of what you think about the Hobbit films, they did make bank. They made money. So, you know what? Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them crushes it? Maybe. I don't know. Mark, what do you think?
I don't hate the idea, but I think you got to remember with Harry Potter, nobody was like, oh, they're doing another Harry Potter. Oh, Deathly Hallows Part 2 is coming out. Like, people were excited about that, and those movies were all critically reviewed very, very well. Whereas with the Hobbit movies, it did feel like they were at least one movie too long. I enjoyed the first two Hobbit movies a lot. Battle of the Five Armies felt like a mess to me, so it makes me hesitate to go back into Middle-earth. Having said that, I do agree that here's the issue, is it seems like if you want to introduce all these new characters and bring back Sauron and all these other people that we know and love already, it's hard to do that in a single film, so you might have to commit to doing another trilogy. And I think the biggest problem with The Hobbit is that it felt pressure to be as epic as the Lord of the Rings trilogy was, when it didn't need to be that. So if you can do it on a smaller scale and not worry about matching the greatness, the wide scope of Lord of the Rings, I think you can do it well.
Schnepp.
Boy, I mean, when you put the Lord of the Rings extended edition trilogy and the Hobbit extended edition trilogy together, that's an entire day of Middle-earth. That's over 24 versions. It's right. It's over 24 hours of multiple endings. What's going on? So honestly, like, and also the original Lord of the Rings, we're going on like almost 16, 17, 18 years ago. So when those came out, do they need to be remade again? Not to me, but perhaps not in the filmic world, maybe a television series adaptation, you know, where we hang out on the Shire for an entire season before Frodo goes on his adventure. If they wanted to extend that universe into television and be able to make those movies like last for 3 or 4 seasons or whatever, the movies turned into a television series.
That's very interesting. Or even if you keep the movies as they are, but then you build around them, because Game of Thrones isn't going to be on forever. So if there's an appetite for a medieval feeling show, why not do it with a built-in franchise like the Lord of the Rings universe?
There's a couple of books that were adapted into films that I think, you know, Game of Thrones, when that ends, they should make, you know, Game of Dune or whatever, the throne of, you know, the House Atreides, House of Harkonnen. I mean, that's literally Game of Thrones right there, is the Dune books.
Right.
They're just waiting to become a giant, amazing series. So, I mean, the same could be said for the Hobbit books.
Didn't they try to make that a series a few years ago in sci-fi?
They did do it. There was like three movies. So they did like a trilogy on. It wasn't a TV series.
That's
it was a
right.
mini series.
That's what it was.
But I think that these kinds of things can exist in that area. It's going to take another 10 years for them to do another movie version of The Hobbit.
All right, and listen, going back to the issue of commentaries, I was just reminded that the next one up will probably be X-Men Apocalypse. That one's coming really soon. And then the horrors, remember, we got our show Collider Nightmares. I mean, they're probably going to do a horror one as well, so keep your eyes open for that. Well, listen, guys, it is Tuesday, which means it's time for us to talk about what is opening this week, brought to you by our friends at AMC Theaters. There are 2 big wide-release films opening this week, The Magnificent Seven and Storks. We'll talk about Storks on Thursday, but today we're talking about that little Western, The Magnificent Seven. Ashley, what's it about?
Looking to mine for gold, greedy industrialist Bartholomew Bogue seizes control of the old west town of Rose Creek. With their lives in jeopardy, Emma Cullen and other desperate residents turn to bounty hunter Sam Chisolm, Denzel Washington, for help. Chisolm recruits an eclectic group of gunslingers to take on Bogue and his ruthless henchmen.
Mark, are you looking forward to The Magnificent Seven?
I certainly am, John. As somebody who has not yet seen it, but is seeing it tonight, I can't wait to see this movie. I was excited already when they announced it. Antoine Fuqua seems like the right guy, especially when you pair him with a talent like Denzel Washington leading the cast. You also have your Chris Pratt in there. You got your Ethan Hawke. This movie looks like a lot of fun. I want a slam-bang action Western. The original one was one of the first times we met Steve McQueen. You got Yul Brynner in there, so it may not be the best Western of all time, Schnepp. It may not be something that we have to do a commentary on, but that cast really got along well on screen. I want to see more of that in the remake.
You got The Equalizer, you got Kingpin, you got Star-Lord, you got Handsome Hawk, all coming together. I have had a chance to see this movie, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. One of the big problems I had with the film is how all the different characters meet and how quickly they all jump on board. That's a weakness for the film. Once you get past that, it's a good, fun Western. I had a great time with the movie. Like I really ended up enjoying it quite a bit. So if you get a chance, get out and see Magnificent Seven this week. Anyway.
Remakes of The Magnificent Seven is a science fiction cheeseball film called Battle Beyond the Stars.
Yep.
And over half of
With
the
Space
movie,
Cowboy.
Yeah, Space Cowboy. That was his name, George Papard. Literally, that's his name. He doesn't have a name other than Space Cowboy.
Is this
You gotta see
Maurice
this.
by any chance? Is that?
You got to see this movie. It takes over 45 minutes to assemble the seven.
Right.
So I agree with you. Like, while I haven't seen the film yet, I'm looking forward to seeing this remake because in the hands of the Training Day director Fuqua.
Yep.
It looks like a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to have that hard action that I like. So I am looking forward to seeing it. And like what you said, it might have happened too quick, but sometimes it could take a little too long to assemble the team. So I'm looking forward to it.
John, I have a question for you. I'm
Yes.
seeing the movie tonight. You've seen What I Can Do to a Bag of Popcorn. What am I ordering going into Magnificent Seven?
Oh, you're going to want some Skittles.
Skittles.
Yes, big bag of Skittles.
Playoffs.
Taste the rainbow.
I'm getting popcorn.
All right. All right, let's get back to our mailbag
All right.
questions.
Stephen writes, "Hey Collider crew, longtime fan here. I love every show you guys produce and watch religiously. My question is this: is there a genre of film you once avoided because it wasn't for you, but then after seeing a movie in said genre, you came around to really enjoy it? For me, I never cared for musicals, but absolutely loved Across the Universe and Rock of Ages, and because of those, I've come around to giving musicals a chance before I pass judgment on them now."
Actually, for me, it's the exact same genre, but with a different film. Musicals was a hard one for me. I mean, with the exception of, like, I wouldn't call the Disney animated ones musicals. They had songs in them, that they weren't proper musicals. But I had a hard time with musicals before until I saw Moulin Rouge. And Moulin Rouge is in my top 20 films of all time that I just love. I can watch that movie over and over again. Ewan McGregor, I don't think I've ever liked him in anything better than him in this. And he sings, and he's great, and he's funny. It's a wonderful cast. It's a great story. It's got this frantic, high energy pace, but it pulls at the emotional heartstrings at the same time. Anyway, after I saw Moulin Rouge for the first time, I watched it a couple more times, and then I started going back and watching a lot of the old classic musicals at the same time. Now, I'm not going to say I love every musical that comes out, because I don't. Despite the fact that I think it won Best Picture, I'm not a big fan of Chicago or things like that, but it was that movie that turned me on to musicals. So when I see that a musical is coming out, and it's not often, I get excited about it. What about you, Schnepp? Do you have any particular genre that you never used to like, and then one movie kind of turned it around for you?
I'd have to go back many, many years, but I guess it would be like the family drama, like Kramer versus Kramer, stuff like that. I was like,
Right.
I just want to go in outer space and watch some people fight. I'm going into the
Space
Wild
Cowboy.
West. I'm going to see some gangsters, Scarface. Want to see action, high drama on the seas, pirates, whatever. It's like, I just didn't want to see like families torn apart by drama and divorce, and or like Uncle Freddie has cancer. Sorry. So I saved that 2 hours for a bunch of family crying stuff. I don't want to, But then upon seeing a bunch of those films later, I was like, not that that's my favorite thing even now, but I do like seeing dramas overall. But I like the escape.
Right.
The suspension of disbelief, whereas in like Freddie has cancer is not enough of an escape for me. So, but even still, I love musicals, like Singing in the Rain. We mentioned that earlier. That when I was a little kid, I would watch all those kinds of musicals. And now it's like, for like, if you've never seen Phantom of the Paradise or Rocky Horror Picture Show, check out, or some of those Bollywood films, which always have musical numbers in it.
Oh, yes, they
check
do.
out India's classics. Krish 3, son.
So you didn't go like 6 or 7 times to see Fault in Our Stars?
I did not.
Okay, I just want to get that clear. Mark, what about you?
You missed some Space Cowboy and Fault in Our Stars, man. I really like Steven's question because I think we're of the same mind where you're not that excited to go see a musical, but if you give me the Beatles or you give me 80s rock, I'm going to be pumped about it. But I grew up watching musicals. I think a lot of kids did because that's what your parents just put on. Wizard of Oz has a lot of singing in it. Annie was a huge movie playing in my house constantly. The one for me is I will side with Jon Schnepp, and I will say the hard-hitting dramas. Like, I could go to the movies with my family when I was a kid and go see something like Forrest Gump or Apollo 13 because they had either some fun moments or some really tense suspense. Good Will Hunting is the one that I remember watching and thinking, I can do these like really, these intense dramas because I wanted to see that movie because I loved Robin Williams so much. When you watch that film and you see that scene with Robin Williams talking to Matt Damon on a park bench, I forgot that I wasn't watching Van Damme fight somebody.
Right.
I forgot I wasn't watching John McClane
But
jump
Van
off a
Damme
building.
did jump out from behind that park bench, it would have added to the movie.
I will say that scene of the park bench is the under siege of hard-hitting drama, and it really won me over. And so ever since, it's like maybe the movie doesn't have a lot of action or science fiction or lightsabers or Wookiees, but I can get excited to see a hard-hitting drama now.
All right, what's next?
Dennis writes, holla lads and lasses. Next weekend is actually one of the more interesting ones in recent months as Deepwater Horizon, Miss Peregrine's, and Masterminds all open up. My question is, in what order are you looking forward to seeing each one from most to least?
Wow, you know what? I have varying degrees of interest for all these films. This answer would have been different a while ago because I'm not a big fan of Tim Burton, but something about Miss Peregrine's House for Peculiar Children looks really good to me. So I'm actually quite excited to see it. Actually, Schnepp and I have been talking about this. I'm really excited to see it. So I would have had that as number one. But recently, I've talked to a couple of friends of mine in the industry who have seen Deepwater Horizon, and they love it. And they're kind of hard to please people, and they absolutely loved it. They say it's one of Peter Berg's best. They thought it was fantastic. So I'm like, okay, now suddenly I'm looking at the trailers a little bit differently. So for me, I'd probably go, right now, number one would be Deepwater Horizon, number two would be Miss Peregrine's, and number three would be the film that was supposed to come out 2 years ago, Masterminds, which, I mean, it was. I mean, that movie was supposed to come out years ago. We were talking about the trailers for Masterminds on Movie Talk back when we were still with AMC. Yeah. I mean, so it's been a while, but I am looking forward to seeing it, but that's my order. What about you? What would be your order?
Well, my order is Miss Peregrine's first because that just Tim Burton's X-Men just sounds awesome to me. I've been waiting to see this. Every trailer got better, so I'm very much looking forward to that. So that's my number one. My number two is Masterminds, a film that was like finished 48 years ago, then got a unrated limited release 13 years ago. No one saw it. Now it's finally coming out. But yeah, actually the trailers when they were released like a year or so ago looked funny to me. And so I still have that happy memory of wanting to see it a year and a half ago. So I'm keeping that as my number two. Deepwater Horizon, I do want to see it, but it's also like once again, my suspension of disbelief is still in full effect. I'm like, that's hard-hitting drama where it's like, man, people on an oil rig getting killed and stuff. I'll definitely see it. But like, yeah, I went and saw Sully and was really pleasantly surprised at how emotionally drawn into the film I was. Yeah. But it wasn't the highest on my list. Man, I can't wait to see Sully. Man, I'm getting my tickets. I'm standing in line to see Sully. That's just not my thing. Would be like, I can't wait to see. I'm standing in line to see Miss Peregrine, Tim Burton's X-Men, or I'm standing in line to see Mastermind so I can laugh out, and see these idiots, bumble around trying to steal money. So.
Mark, let me ask you this: over or under 40%? Over or under 40%? The chances that in Deepwater Horizon, a disguised as a fisherman Superman comes out and saves Mark Wahlberg from the oil rig.
I was told there'd be no math, and I'm going to say that is way under 40% because it's based on a true story, and this is what Peter Berg does well. It's a question of a filmmaker doing what they do best. So Tim Burton doing this fantastical world with mutants, or is it going to be Peter Berg talking about a harrowing true event like he did so well in something like Lone Survivor, or even if you want to go back to Friday Night Lights, which is a little bit different but still has a lot of drama in there. Deepwater Horizon is my number one. Miss Peregrine is something I'm excited to see, but Tim Burton hasn't done his best as recently as Peter Berg has done his best, so that's why I'm going to go with the hotter hand, even though like Battleship, not exactly based on a true story, although Peter Berg did it. Masterminds is something I'm very nervous about because it's been on the shelf for so long, and when it's a comedy and it's got a cast like that, how did it not get into theaters sooner? I look at that thing like I look at that virus in 28 Days Later, man. I am afraid to release that into the public because I do not know what it's going to be. I haven't heard a lot about Masterminds. Like, I haven't seen any promotional material for it yet. They have trailers you can watch online, but nothing on TV. I'm scared.
Well, you know what happened? It was like one of those things, like behind the scenes, like the studio that was putting it out just had a massive money loss, so they had to lock everything down. There was just a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that you didn't hear about. That's why the movie got delayed and delayed and delayed. So it's one of those unfortunate things. Whether it's a good movie or not, we'll find out. But it really had nothing to do with that. It was like studio, like, oh, we're broke. What? Shuffling weird bank stuff. And then, so everything had to go to a grinding halt.
I need to rewind to this statement about you about Battleship not being a true story.
Yeah, so elements are. I mean, the aliens are totally real.
Okay.
They can come
you sunk
down
my battleship.
and
The
put
pegs.
battleships in
They
bubbles.
threw pegs at you. Remember those pegs? Those are the battleship pegs. My mind exploded.
That's right. Rihanna
Literally.
really is in the Navy. Liam Neeson really does captain a ship, but some of the other elements were a little dramatized.
I
Okay,
think that's
actually,
the
let
best
me-
part of Battleship is Rihanna.
I want to ask Ashley this. So, Ashley, okay. So, movie talk ends. I give you $30 to go see 3 movies.
$30?
Plus 20 for popcorn.
Oh my god!
Okay, and another
Big
30 so you can
spender.
bring your secret lover Drake.
Bam!
So
80
Drake can
bucks.
come along with you.
Oh, this is the best day ever.
I'm good
In
at maths.
what order are you going to go see these movies next weekend?
Deepwater Horizon and Miss Peregrine's are like, I want to see Deepwater Horizon like it's gonna be my number one. I think so. I love true stories, and this story just seems so crazy to me. Miss Peregrine's, I'm excited for it. Some of the stuff I'm seeing is a little bit over the top, but I'm still excited for it. Masterminds is surprisingly my number 3. I just haven't seen much of the marketing for it, and I love Zal Galifianakis, which blows my mind that it's my number 3, but that's my order.
All right, and none of us mentioned Eva Green. I mean, that's another good reason to be excited for
Yes,
her.
she's
great. She's awesome. All right, folks, now listen, before we get to our final mailbag question today, I want to remind you that we are going to take live Twitter questions today. So if you're watching the show live right now, make sure you're following us on Twitter at Collider Video and fire in your questions. We're going to save some time at the end of the show to get to some of those. Wendy Lee is sitting back there. She's going to be collecting those. So before we do that,
Neely writes, "Greetings, Collider Party people. I was thinking about the enormous time investment in waiting to get into Hall H panels for big studio presentations like Marvel Studios and Warner Brothers. From afar, it seems like the vibe and atmosphere of each are quite different, where the WB panel felt like a grand epic cathedral set worship ceremony. Marvel felt like a spur-of-the-moment comic book block party with lots of improv and fun. I can only imagine what each is like live. My question is, in all your convention experiences, what was your favorite panel to attend live and why?"
And hey, I should kind of mention this too. If you want to see all the Hall H panels that were at Comic-Con this year, go to Comic-Con HQ. All the big major panels from Comic-Con are up there on Comic-Con HQ now, so go ahead and check those out. For me, this may surprise you. I might have mentioned this before. My favorite convention panel that I ever attended was about 8 years ago in Toronto at the Toronto Fan Fest. And it was a 2-person panel. It was William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy for like 90 minutes on stage just telling stories. And it was the day after Leonard Nimoy got his first phone call from J.J. Abrams about maybe being in this new Star Trek thing. Wow. And it was so great because I don't know if they faked it, but it looked damn real. But Leonard Nimoy's up there talking, so I got a call yesterday from J.J. Abrams. And everybody cheers. And Shatner's like, wait, JJ called you? It's like, yeah, hasn't he called you? No. So it was just the two of them sitting there telling these stories. It was one of the most engaging but funniest things. I had these two guys together were hilarious telling their stories. It was one of the most entertaining 90 minutes I have ever spent at any festival ever. So that's the one panel that really stands out to me. What about you, Schnepp? You've done an awful lot of these things.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, if you wanted to see what John said, he saw it live, but they have a videotape of that.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, because it's seeing those two together. I agree with dynamite. One of my favorite convention experiences from being a little kid was going to an early creation convention in New Haven, Connecticut, and seeing Sulu, George Takei, come out and just talk to the crowd and like talk about Star Trek Wrath of Khan that was coming out. It was a year before it was coming out, so all of us little Star Trek nerds were all excited about it. We're like, got Star Trek 2, with Khan, So I was like very excited about that. And he was really nice to everybody, and it's sort of the conventions are a lot different now. They're like super crowded, and to go to a panel back then was you simply walked in the room. That's how it was. There wasn't a line for like 2 days. So it's a little bit of a different experience, but right all the way up to this most recent San Diego Comic-Con, getting to go to Hall H, which is really difficult nowadays. Definitely, I got in because of doing this show, which I'm grateful for. So I was able to check out a whole bunch of panels all in a row. I saw the 30th anniversary of Aliens, and that was incredible to see the cast and the crew and James Cameron, Gale Anne Hurd. Everybody was up there, and you saw the love and fun that everyone had, like just rekindling that. Even though it was 30 years ago, it was like no time had passed to them just talking about swapping stories. Bill Paxton still cracking cracking jokes. Sigourney Weaver's still an incredible actress. I mean, everybody had their presence. Everybody was there. So that was like a really fun moment. And then, of course, the Marvel. I didn't get to see the DC panel, but the Marvel panel is just explosive. It's like going to Barnum and Bailey's. It's like a circus environment. Like it's a controlled explosion. Yeah, it's like literally they're like Doctor Strange shows up and there's like giant, smoke and mirrors and stuff, and then Benedict Cumberbatch is standing there. People go ape shit nuts. I mean, James Gunn brings on all of the, what are they called, the Reavers, the bad guys. They're all coming full costume. Then the entire cast comes on. It was just a lot. I mean, they just make it so much fun, and then show you little bits and nuggets. Like, got to see a few cool scenes from Thor Ragnarok that no one else is going to see, so they make it a special thing for hey, if you stood in line for 2 days, this is the payoff. You get to see this flavor. You get to see a Spider-Man trailer that no one else is going to see. So I appreciate that, but I also get it from the other end. I left. I had to go to do something else, so I didn't get to see that Guardians 2 trailer that other people saw. So you're like, damn, I missed that. So it is one of those things that they make it a special event, and you can savor it for however long until that event becomes global. Where they're like, oh, we released that to everyone. So, but I also appreciate releasing it same date, same time, an hour later, like WB did with Justice League. Like, everybody got to see this cool trailer. An hour later, the entire world got to see it. So I think that's kind of the medium of where the fan panel events are going. It's either going to be super special and secret for this group of people for 5-6 months, or it's 6 hours later you get to see it.
Mark, what's been your favorite panel at any convention you've ever been to?
In terms of Comic-Con in San Diego, Hall H, which I'm lucky enough to get into because I sneak in Schnepp's pocket, I got to see so many great things from both Marvel and DC. I give Marvel the slight edge. But wait, we got one other thing to show you, kind of comic book related panel. It was when I got to see 4 legends on stage. That would be the members of Metallica. They did a panel when they were promoting Through the Never, and I got to see them up close. It was awesome. Then I went to the concert afterwards, and it rocked. It was so good. Favorite panel of all time? Anaheim, Star Wars Celebration, watching the Chewie We're Home Force Awakens trailer for the first time. There's pictures of it online everywhere. Harloff and I did a selfie as soon as we saw the first time, and we just have tears in our eyes like a couple silly nannies. It was the most incredible experience with 6,000 other of my closest friends that I've ever had. It was magical. The Force was with us.
All right, folks. Well, listen, before we get to our live Twitter questions, I want to remind you that Movie Talk is not the only show going up on Collider Video today. We got a couple of real good ones. First of all, I want to mention that the Schmodown Movie Trivia event that everybody has been waiting for. We've got Kanan Jarrus from Star Wars Rebels himself. Freddie Prinze Jr. is taking on Darth Maul himself from Star Wars Rebels. Sam Witwer. Sam is also currently, I believe he's starring in Once Upon a Time. He was starred that show Being Human for several seasons. He's done a whole bunch. He was in Smallville for a while. He's just done a ton of stuff. He was also Starkiller in the video games. Yeah. Sam Witwer was Starkiller in the video games.
Motion captured.
Yeah, and modeled after him as well. And it was going to be a movie trivia competition for the ages. That goes up today. Everybody yell at me if I'm wrong, but I believe it goes up today at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you check that out. And then a few hours after that, speaking of Collider Nightmares, the newest episode of Collider Nightmares goes up at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So make sure you guys come back to Collider Video at those times for those shows, and make sure you share them around. All right, guys, I said we'd save a little bit of time for the Twitter questions at the end of the show, and we're going to do that right now. Wendy Lee's been over there. She's been monitoring the Twitter stream. So what's going on, Wendy?
Lucas Watchcase says, what do you think about Jared Leto playing Andy Warhol?
Yeah, apparently, as we've been doing this show, the news just dropped that Jared Leto is going to be playing Andy Warhol. Look, Jared Leto, he is an Academy Award-winning actor. I liked him as Joker. Sorry. I really liked his incarnation of Joker. I thought it was really different and unique from everything else. It was pretty, from an acting point of view, it was a pretty damn brave thing for him to do. He can do anything as far as I'm concerned. And him playing Warhol, I totally see it. I think that's a really great fit. I don't know a lot about the project. I don't know a lot about what kind of angle they're taking. I don't know what time frame of his life they're looking at. But just in principle, the idea of this guy playing this dude sounds good to me. What about you?
I love it. Is it a Warhol biopic?
I think so. I don't know much about it.
I loved any time they've brought Warhol into any different films. I think Guy Pearce so far has been my favorite Warhol. He was played Warhol. I can't even remember which film it was, but Jared Leto, that great pick. I think he'll kill it as Warhol, and I hope it's like in the factory phase. That's my personal choice of like. Hopefully, it's based in the factory, and then they do flashbacks of Warhol as a kid all the way up to now. So I think it's a great casting decision.
It appears it is going to be a biopic. He is also going to be producing it, I think. And Jared Leto is one of those guys that commits to the role. So
Yes,
Margot Robbie, look out. You might get some more crap in the mail. Might just be like an open can of tomato soup and a rubber band. I don't know what he's going to send you, but be prepared. My favorite Andy Warhol portrayal on screen, Jared Leto's got tough shoes to fill, was who played Andy Warhol in The Doors? Schmodown question. Anybody?
Philip Seymour Hoffman?
Incorrect.
Oh, okay.
Give me a second.
Nope, no more time. What's up? Who is it?
George McFly himself, Crispin Glover.
Nice.
Oh! What was I thinking of?
Right.
I wasn't even close. All right, what's next?
College Movie Man says, is there anything that will instantly turn you off a movie? I loved Kubo, but stop motion can freak me out.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on style. If you're talking visually, it all depends on style. Like some people, it's subtitles. Like, and I get it, for some people, it's not an issue of I don't want to read. No, for some people, they just have a hard time following what else is supposed to be going on screen while reading. Hey, that happens to some people. That's whatever. Something that will immediately take me out of a movie. I don't know, man, because a lot of movies I like do some pretty stupid things.
Sure.
So it's hard for me to think of something like one particular thing. If you do this, you pull me out of the movie.
I got one. It's an actor who's not with the rest of the crew. So everyone else has you establish a tone. Hey, this is a realistic film. The tone is there. Everyone's acting in a specific kind of a style of acting. And then one actor is like, I'm in a different movie. I'm a cartoon character. It's like throws me out of the film.
Yeah, but the argument can be made that's life around the studio with you.
I know. But
Like you look at
hey,
everybody else, it's kind of one way, and then in
know,
comes Schnepp.
This is
Like
reality.
Kramer coming through
I know.
Seinfeld's door.
If you could edit me, which you can't, then it would be a different thing. I'm talking about an edited pre-tape thing that was edited down. If you could boil down a 24-hour thing of us, then you just cut me like, hey everybody, what's up? But like Schnepp's always on. What kind of drugs is he taking? Hey, I can't stop talking, but sometimes I have my quiet moments.
No,
I'm
I've
just
never
saying,
heard. I
sometimes.
can't vouch for that.
Anyway, I want to see my movie now. You making it sound
In this
interesting.
office, you are the inflatable car dealership thing. Which is,
All right, screw my point. Whatever. What's yours?
it's going to shock a lot of people, but for 45 minutes has a ridiculously violent scene that did not need to be in there. And I'm going to say something now is the Kingsman, the church scene, I thought was way over the top to be that crazy violent. And it took me out.
That point. That's one of my favorite scenes.
I know.
from The
Yeah,
Kingsman.
It's a lot of people.
How do you feel about accents? When a well-known actor tries to pull off an accent, I can't.
It depends how
do
well
it.
they do it. Because
Yeah.
if like one of the worst examples to me is if you go back to Keanu Reeves and Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, what do you? That was just like, what is
It was
Valley
like
guy?
all over the like.
Yo, dude, the like,
Yeah, it's like it's tough, like because then you got actors like doing his American accent. You would have no idea. There's a lot of Australian actors that you would have no idea. It's tough. It's when you notice it.
Yep.
When you notice it, it can. Kevin Costner, like, hey, I love rock movie. But wow, if it was a crime to go in and out of your accent, Costner would still be in prison.
you know, it doesn't bother me. Like Margot Robbie, like all of a sudden Australian came
Yeah.
in and out a little bit. Doesn't bother me. Holly will pinpoint it, and she'll fixate it. It was like that accent. Certain things like linguistics would be like, oh, it could probably drive somebody crazy. Me, I'm like, oh, I just noticed that. I'll keep going. It doesn't.
And Bourne totally took me out of the movie.
Bam.
She
Oh,
couldn't do
actually,
it.
you know what? That's right. She's great. She's wonderful. But you're right. It was out of place in that movie.
Which is
Absolutely.
surprising to see that she couldn't pull that off. All right. Gabriel Bailey says, what filming locations have you visited? For example, the houses from Goonies or A Christmas Story?
Well, I mean, just recently, Ann and I. It's funny. I've lived in L.A. area for about 7 years now. I've never done it, but just the last couple of weeks because I had some family visiting, we went and took the Warner Brothers tour. Transformers movie, final street battle scene, and it was amazing because I have a background in visual effects too, but I've always done it from a computer screen in a studio somewhere, right? To actually be out there and see all these guys running around as all this chaos is going on in the street battle, and you don't see the Transformers. we see these guys running around with these 20-foot high sticks with big blue balls on the top of them, supposed to be where the Transformers are. And you see buses exploding and flipping over, and panic crowds running all over the place. That was a very cool set. They made it a lot of fun. And, you know, say what you want about Michael Bay. He was, as a host that day, and on his set, as he's trying to be accommodating, he was very nice. He joked around with everybody, had a really good time. So, yeah, that's one. What are some cool things you've got to visit?
Well, they don't let me on movie sets because I am a craft services nightmare. But when I go on the road to do stand-up, I will like to take advantage of my surroundings. Last time I was at the DC Improv, it was a slightly overcast day. It was raining a little bit, so Mark Ellis took a stroll to Georgetown and sat on the iconic Exorcist steps, and it was spooky.
Wow.
It was raining a little bit. It was everything scary when you have like a 60-year-old man running up. I mean, I'm trying to take a selfie, and he's like, "I'm getting my exercise here." So
You're
people
ruining
use
my
those.
moment.
Yeah.
What about you,
Power
Schnepp?
of Christ compels you to get out of my shot. You know what? Like, you know, California, Hollywood. So we're always on a set. It's always
Yeah, pretty
somebody's
much.
like.
That's deep, man.
I mean, literally, like every street that we go around in the Hollywood area, I live in Hollywood, so I'm always on like, oh, they shot, you know, 8mm right here. They shot, you know, especially on Campea, Hollywood. There's all these little nooks and crannies. You'll recognize an alley or a storefront. It's a lot of fun. I've been on a lot of other sets, but the sets I can talk about, like definitely Luke Cage, sneaking onto that set was cool.
I like how he first says, the ones I can talk about. This one I snuck onto.
No, that was the fun because it wasn't supposed to happen. But the one my favorite one that did happen was because of you. I went to the Avengers set in London.
That's right,
and
yeah.
that was really dope to see the Vision when he was like blue. They like color treated him because everything else was green screen. So I don't know if I haven't seen the behind the scenes stuff. If you see like Vision walking around, he's like blue. You're like, why is he blue? It's because the background was completely green. So they get rid of the background first, then tint him. So it was a process of seeing that scene with him fighting Thor, which wasn't in the movie.
Right.
Until you saw, it's like a deleted scene later. You're like, oh, he did fight that. I was telling people, yeah, where do you guys see, you know, like, where do you see Vision fight Thor, and then it's not in the movie. You're like, damn.
And I'm like, Schnepp, that time I sent you away for a week to London, where did you really go?
What were you? Did you go to Amsterdam?
Where did you really go? All right, what's next?
Jonathan Peck says, with the Magnificent Seven coming out this week, what is the best movie starring Denzel Washington?
Wow. That's
tough one.
He's done a few good flicks in his time.
Oh my God. Mark, let me start with you.
I will kick things off, and I will say, as much as I want to say The Hurricane, which he should have won an Academy Award for, he won initially for Glory for Best Supporting Actor. The one that I think he got robbed of was his portrayal of Malcolm X. I think that would be like something like a like The Equalizer, just like a fun action movie. But Malcolm X is intense. Spike Lee did a great job directing it, and Denzel was fantastic. I would have said he got game, but because of what Ray Allen did to the Spurs a few years ago, can't do it.
Certainly not one of his best movies, but one of his best performances that nobody ever talks about because it wasn't one of his best movies was Book of Eli. He was really good in that. I'm a big fan of. Not a lot of people like this one, but I'm a big fan of the one he just previously did with Antoine Fuqua, which was The Equalizer. Yeah. I like that a lot. Man on Fire, Training Day.
I like Two Guns.
Two
that
Guns
was like the
that he
Boom
did
comic book, yeah.
He did that one with Mark Wahlberg, right? Two Guns was really good. Though another one that all people talk about is it Crimson Tide? The one that one is
Gene
really
Hackman,
good with Gene Hackman.
There was
one of his last
crazy
ones.
possession one. I think it was called The Fallen or Deja Vu. It's either one of those two where it was like John Goodman was like, if you get touched, the demon will possess you. Remember
Deja
that one?
Vu.
Was it Deja
Yeah.
Vu? That was creepy. I just remember like, oh man, Denzel Washington's such a good actor. What's he doing in this weird, creepy horror movie? Oh, he's making it better.
And he's really good in The Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
He's really good in
Awesome.
Magnificent Seven.
Oh, Virtuosity. Don't forget about that one. I know a lot
Russell
of people.
Crowe. Yeah.
He's still awesome in it.
All right, last question of the day.
All right, Jack Call says, what legacy that you want to come back?
Well, I mean, one of the obvious, if you want to talk about actors, pinnacle of his career has Oscar hardware on his mantles. Nick Cage is somebody who I still believe there's going to be a Nick Cage-assance.
Sure,
I
yeah,
think
there
there's
certainly
going to
will.
be a Nick Cage-assance at some point. The dude's just too good of it. I really like seeing him pop up in Snowden, too. I just think the dude's too good of an actor. I mean, George Lucas is now retired, but obviously he was considered one of the great... He still should be considered one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. But he went. Anybody else comes to mind for you?
I'm thinking when I go to the movies, not this weekend, but next weekend with Tim Burton. I mean, Tim Burton has made some movies that I've enjoyed recently. recently, but nothing on the level of like the classics, like your Beetlejuices, your Batmans, your Edward Scissorhands. I want to see him get back to that vibe with Miss Peregrine's. That would be the one for me. Jim Carrey is also somebody who he hasn't had a movie come out in a little bit, but whether he's doing comedy or drama, and I'll say the same thing for Eddie Murphy. I hope that Mr. Church brings him back. Those are two of my favorite human beings in front of the screen ever.
Yeah, and I just read Jim Carrey's going to play Terrence McKenna. Which I was like, awesome. Like, that's going to be pushing him into a very strange place. You know who pops to my mind is Francis Ford Coppola. Of the 70s films, like The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, a whole bunch of different films. And he started Zoetrope Studios. A lot of things didn't work out right. His career has never been the same since. But he's an incredible filmmaker, so I'm looking forward to, hopefully, I don't know if he's retired or not, but I would like to see him do a few more films.
You know what? When I think of him now, he was the executive producer on one of my favorite fun horror movies the past number of decades, which was the first Jeepers Creepers. He was actually the exec producer on that. I really liked that first one. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for us for this installment of Collider Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of other great shows happening here on Collider's Video. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Keep up to date on all the shows that we're doing here. I want to thank the guys sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting over here on my left, Mr. Jon Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you?
You guys, Collider Nightmares later today, and then tomorrow, Collider Heroes. It's the 75th episode of Collider Heroes, so we're celebrating Wonder Woman's 75th anniversary, so please come on by. And thanks to everyone who came to the Long Beach Comic-Con. We had a great panel. It was a lot of fun. We did a Collider Heroes panel, and it was a great time seeing everybody there.
And Gal Gadot's coming into studio tomorrow, right?
That's right. Shh, don't
By the way,
not.
before that gets out, I am completely lying.
He's fully lying.
Fully lying. Sitting over here on my right, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, where I have a pinned tweet for my show this weekend at the world famous Comedy Store, Saturday night, 7 p.m. main room. Me, lots of comedy superstars are going to be there. You can get tickets at markellislive.com, and of course, subscribe to Christian Harloff and I's YouTube channel, Schmoes Know. Go ahead and do it right now.
And you're also calling a little match today between Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sam Witwer that goes on air 2 p.m.
Yeah, and something about the match too. They're both luminaries of the Star Wars galaxy, but it's a straight movie trivia schmodown competition. It's not just like Star Wars categories. It's everything is going to be on the wheel. It's the classic schmodown format. So Christian and I very excited to be calling that match because there's going to be a lot of force wielding in the room.
And sitting over in the air, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you and Drake watching movies this weekend?
Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Ashley Mova. Happy Tuesday, guys.
And of course, Wendy Lee sitting back there handling all the Twitter stuff. Wendy, where can people find you?
When am I going to get money to see movies?
That's okay. I'll give you $30 too.
Got it, girl. Got it.
And $20 for popcorn. And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Wendy Lee Zaney.
And of course, special thanks to all the guys in the studio who make this show possible. And most importantly, thank you to you guys. Remember, the most important part of the show is not what these idiots up here have to say.
Hey.
It's what you have to say. Make sure you jump into the comments section, leave your thoughts on any or all the topics that we discussed here today. That'll do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. My name's Jon Campea. Until next time, bye-bye.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.